right now we are being joined with Sesan Okunade. He's a guest analyst, and we are going to be talking about the stories on the front pages of the national dailies. Sesan, always a pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Olumide. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
Thank God
It's
it's
another
Friday.
weekend.
Thank God it's Friday. You look very Friday. I like the attire.
Yeah, you don't need to look about the challenges in the country. Just make yourself happy and give yourself, that's my word,
Yeah.
and move on.
I like it. I love the vibe. So let's begin with the punch. Yeah. The major headline is about the cabinet reshuffle, and it reads, Presidency defends Tinubu as federal government slashes ministers' vehicles and aids. But this is the clincher for me, the rider, which I want you to focus on. Federal government differs as clerk. Others allege lopsidedness. Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation. Do you see any lopsidedness in what the federal government has just done by slashing the ministers' vehicles and aids?
Well, let me say in terms of the appointment, I'm still trying to fine-tune some of the appointment, although discussing with some of my other analysts, they are like ministers are more of administrator and not the key knowledge. I ask myself the question: if you rely solely on the PS, who ends the parastatal, and you don't have deeper understanding of what he's telling you, you will only be following him to some of the things that we're doing. I picked on one of the ministry, the deployment of the Minister of State for Health to Education. And I tried to research if he's an educationist that can have understanding and that passion that we're talking about. Look at the last man that was actually given to us. He came with several controversial policies that everybody keeps running up and down, challenging the president. Are we going to start another set of such? In one of my interviews I granted yesterday, my question is not about individuals that are actually put in this position. It's about having a system. And the only people that can actually build a system and structure are the people that understand the yardstick, so that in such a way that you put anybody in that particular position, the system will correct any irregularity that anyone might want to actually play out in the ministry where you have assigned him. And when you speak about the instruction from the presidency on the reducing their convoys and aids to about 3, at least for the first time, we are having assertion that the level at which the executives and even the legislature go around with a lot of flamboyancy is being asserted by presidency. And the question is, if any do not comply with this, what is actually the punishment? How are we to go about it? Do we have a feedback mechanism to say this particular person was here, this is not 3 vehicles, we can see? Because the next thing you will hear is that, well, it's just only 3 that the minister is coming up with, and you see about 10 that the others are like more or less PS, this, that, director, this, that. Can we start looking at maybe for every ministry where everybody is going, aside the minister, possibly that will be in his own convoy, let the ministry have, they all have buses. Put everybody in a bus and let it be the second, so that we can minimize the cost of operation in terms of the fueling that you use for that particular thing. So we can fulfill those 3 things. Because I've asked myself the question, presidency alone should not direct this to the minister. He is the head of the executive arm. We should start seeing that too in some of the things that he too will be practicing. We've seen a lot of times where Mr. President will visit a state and you ask yourself the number of convoys that will follow. People will come out and say, no, president is just 2 or 3 out of it. The rest are Senate president, this, that, those that have come to actually see them. Can we start looking for maybe buses that will converge everyone that might need to accompany Mr. President, in any of the areas, so that we can go with, even for Mr. President, nothing above 3 or 4. The military apparatus, that we need to follow some of these executive. You ask yourself, why this overprotective nature if indeed we are out there? But people will come out and say, no, you don't just expose the executive arm in the hands of the populace. But I can tell you that there is no one that can protect some of these people more than the citizen, if indeed they are doing what is needful and what is expected.
Let me come in here, Sesan. You talked about Nigerians being the ones that can protect the presidency the most. Now, listen to what the president said. He said Nigerians determined fate of sacked ministers. He's explaining why he fired those 5 ministers that were fired, including the Minister of Sports. President Tinubu said Nigerians determined their fate, that he fired these ministers because people had said they did not perform well. Do you agree that this was based on the feedback from Nigerians?
Well, I can't say yes and I can't say no. They have their feedback mechanism, which I don't have access to. But like I make allusion to the Minister of Education, I was asking myself, we seem to get more confused than getting a way out of some of the things that we are actually doing with so many controversial policies that was actually being proposed by the minister. Even if we need to go in line with what we have before now, we all know the 6334 policy. How many people adhere strictly to some of those things is to enforce some of those things that we have in there, not we. And it speaks volume. A lot of people in this country, we try to bypass the law. But when we travel out of the country, you see yourself keying into it. I don't see where you will see outside the shore of this country where a 14-year-old person is actually talking of graduating or is in the 400 level or 300 level. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that have JAPA, their kids go back to the normal class. You have to spend 6 years in your elementary. You follow through to before you get to even high school and the likes. And they have those processes. When you get back there, you see them stepping back kids, 2, 3, steps backward to say, no, you claim to be in basic 9 in Nigeria. But even as sound as you are, you can't go beyond basic 6 or basic 7. It's either you stick by it because it's about age. And what they try to preach there is to speak to the fact that there is a lot that goes with maturity when it comes to education. And it's very much fundamental. You see a lot of graduates, young graduates, graduating at age 16, 17, 18, and it's pretty difficult for them to even defend the certificate that they are asking. They can be very fluent. They can understand basic, but the maturity when it comes to human relation, when it comes to psychological things that they need to do in making those things, is just a way far from me. The youthful exuberance over there. You see a child who is less than 6, all he needs to know is how to play, because that is what is actually meant for that formative stage. So when you take him and you are forcing him to come and be reading his book, by the time you get to it 5, 6, he start understanding the importance of some of these things rather than forcing that on him at age 2 or age 3 that he must definitely know someone. So I believe
hold your thoughts. Yeah, I'm coming back to you. Hold your thoughts, please. I'll come back. Michael, good morning. Thanks for calling. Michael is calling from Abuja. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Olumide.
Good morning.
I don't know if is it Miss or Mrs. Vivian was in the studio yesterday. I said this. If the government really wants to reduce the cost of governance, there are still a lot of things to be done. And just like hours after I said that, I saw it on the online that the president has reduced the number of cars of convoy from ministers for state and directors. I said, okay, meaning this is working, but there is still more to do. If truly you want to do this, there is still more to do. Because I'm seeing challenges in front. There are some you wish to do, but they cannot help, like cases of the senators and all of that. I don't think you can go there. But I think if we really want to do this, cut down the cost really as a president of Nigeria, there is still more to do.
All right.
Because this is just the beginning. Like, for instance, there was a story I was reading on another TV special yesterday about this high cost of fuel and CNG. Somebody said he converted his car for more than 200 and something thousand just to convert to CNG. And he went to CNG station, he spent 4 hours just to get it. And the rate of almost 300 naira, and the president were telling us buy CNG for 200 naira or buy for 1,000. Already the CNG is even going up. Some are selling it almost 400. Some, the guy said he bought it almost 300 or something naira, and it spent 4 hours. Imagine if out of 200 million Nigerians, 100 million converted to CNG, what the price will become in future.
All right,
so the people will not even regret going to CNG. And the conversion, how much to convert your car from petrol to CNG? How many Nigerians can afford to let's just say approximately 400,000 just to convert your car? And you are encouraging us to go for CNG instead of petrol. It is just well with us, Nigeria.
It is well, I agree. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for calling. Now, Shesan, you were talking about education and how maturity is key and not just age. Please land with your thoughts before Olumide comes in with his question.
Yeah, I just want to conclude in that aspect to say it's something we need to actually critically look into, even though the approach of the former minister may really not go down well with individuals. But I feel that there is no reason for rushing when education is the bedrock of the growth of any nation. And we need to critically examine our curriculum. We seem to have more of theoretical things.
You know, Shesan, I'm going to still come back to you on this matter. We have to trash it out. Yes, but I've got Bolanle from Shomolu. Bolanle, thank you for calling in. Please go ahead. Ikorodu, I beg your pardon. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Truly, if the government is really sincere about costing cost, I think they should start from, apart from saying they reduce their convert to 2 or 3, they should start from using lower vehicles. My sister, you and I know how much we fill up a tank of V8 vehicle. And you are taking 10, 20 in a convoy. Sister, if you check how much we fill up a tank of V8 engine and how many kilometers will it cover, you will know that they are wasting a lot of resources on these vehicles. So what will have caused them to reduce the type of vehicle they are using? I wonder what a minister needs a Land Cruiser for. I wonder what a minister needs, all those high capacity vehicles for God's sake. If truly you are serving people, you don't need to be afraid of anything. You are not supposed to be scared of anything. You are supposed to be free with the people that you are serving. Even there are a lot of lower vehicles that you can even do among the glasses on, rather than I see it as grandstanding, as oppressing the populace, because I can't imagine when you say you are serving me that I'm walking with my bare leg on the road. You are using such vehicle, still using my hard-earned money, which you are taxing me upon. You are using that tax to oppress me. I think they should start from that. It's not by saying we reduce it to 3, we reduce it to 2, and all those things. I want to believe as they are just a mere saying sake, so that people will feel like, okay, they are saying something. No, we want to see it practicalized. Reduce your vehicle, reduce the capacity of the vehicle you are using, from the top to the bottom, even from the president himself.
Okay.
If you go around the world, how many of our government officials around the world are using such capacity of vehicle, for God's sake?
All right, Bolanle, thank you so much.
Even the Prime Minister, the UK Prime Minister, how many vehicles does he go out the port? Thank you.
Thank you, Bolanle. That was very, very elaborate. Olumide, I'm just going to hand over to you in a minute, but I'll come back to you, Shesan, for us to land on this particular topic before Olumide comes on board. You are saying that even though the policy of former Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, for candidates under 18 to not sit for JAMB, even though it was not well received by Nigerians, you're saying that wasn't a bad policy. Is that what you're saying?
It's really not a bad policy. Sincerely speaking, there is maturity to education, if we must say it. Go to developed climes, even if you're in UK, US, You don't come in. It's a strict rule, irrespective of how intelligent you can be. And I think we can adopt same if we want to, because you discover that we are employers of labor. Young people are being employed, and you ask yourself the question: are they really ready for labor markets? If it's the way to go about. So I think we should critically look at that. And let me just speak to that issue of cost of governance, reducing the convoy. The question I'm going to ask: what happened to those other vehicles that are not going to be used again? So if they have 10 and you are reducing to 3, what happened to the other 7 in that particular? Is it shared to other directors, or are you going to now sell back to the people you procure them from and use the fund for other things? That's also beckoning for an answer. So it's not about reducing it. You see, we seems to have more of speaking to things than acting some of those things. And like I've said, if they don't comply, what becomes of such minister or anybody? Like the aspect that the last man spoke about CNG. You see, Mr. President is acting on reports submitted to him by his aides of saying CNG is 200. Go.
The network seems to be at it again this morning, but we do apologize for that. You know, it's quite interesting what some of the points he's raising, but let's have him back. Sesan Okunade, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm just saying that, you see, the more people are actually going into this conversion of CNG, the demands keep increasing and the supply is not increasing. And in basic economics, definitely the price will continue to go up. Somebody is practically saying you are getting it for as high as 300 and something. I was in Abuja and I saw a long queue of trucks, queuing for CNG. And I'm like, if for now that a lot of people are not into this, what becomes when we now get some of these things converted? So you still go back to that aspect of saying demand and supply. You now have more demand for that product, but the availability is not just there. So definitely it will force the price to go up. So in the shortest possible time, you might see CNG gas going as high as 600-700, which will now counter what Mr. President has said, because a lot of people are given the trial. Some of us have put the government on their toes that it won't be a bad deal to start seeing the conversion starting with them. At least they are government official. If out of the 10 vehicles, if out of the 3 vehicles to be used by the minister, 1 or 2 of them are converted to CNG, and we can practically see the impact in their operation, to say leadership by example and not just leadership by what we say. Then people can start having a buying, but there is still a lacuna. What is the availability level of some of those gases and the quality assurance of those that are actually fixing it? You and I saw on social media what happened in Benin. You see, for everything, every policy that you create, I always call out the Standard Organization of Nigeria in monitoring those that are actually approved to carry out some of these things. If the kit is about 1 million to convert, I'm just saying that hypothetically, be rest assured that there will be other way around for Nigerians to look at 200,000 to get that thing resolved. Who monitors those things to caution those that do it at lower quality, lower standard, to punish them, so that we can actually avert all these issues that has to do with gas explosion and the like. So that's an area we want to critically look at. It is not just pushing people to say convert to CNG, but the monitoring on the part of the government to make sure that we have the quality delivery that is expected to avert any evil on the citizen of the country.
Right. I would like to direct your attention to this call by the House of Representatives telling the Central Bank of Nigeria to withdraw the old Naira notes and print more of the new Naira notes. So my question is, with all that we went through 2 years ago with the whole Emefiele saga and all that, how it was so hard to even access this new note, what is even the benefit? Because it even cost more to print this new note. What is the benefit? What are the House of Representatives, what are they seeing? What is their aim? What is their motive behind this whole thing?
Well, Olumide, I don't know their motive. You are shocked. I'm as shocked as you are shocked. But the question is, why they were trying to do this. When the CBN governor came on board, he said they will gradually look at how to fizzle out the old notes. And whether you call it old or new, it's a legal tender that is actually approved. If it gets, we know how this cash gets mutilated. It's not something that you need to call. As soon as they are getting mutilated, I'm sure you don't have the template of the old currency. You will definitely be replacing them with the new one. And we have actually asked and promote this less of physical cash. It is still the same high-end level people that can go around with cash. Nobody wants to do you and I can't remember the last time I had as much as 50,000 with me as cash. Anything you want to do, when I get to the store, when I want to even give you transfer of 2,000, I don't mind. Because as a finance person, I want to have an audit trail of how I'm spending my money. If tomorrow somebody comes and check my account, they can see it. But these days, people just want to hide away. They don't want to do transfer to anybody. And it's among the high elite. They want to give you cash. So I'm not supporting that idea of saying that withdraw the old one. If it is still a legal tender that we have for the people, all we need from you is that as they are actually getting mutilated, you can be facing them out. You don't need to draw. And when they are reproducing, you don't have the template of the old currency. Are you aware that we still have new notes of the old currency being stored by several people? And I mean the high network people in all their areas. You remember those days when snake was swallowing money, when people are actually burying money in pits,
storage tanks.
During Emefiele's crisis. We don't want to go that route because we know that how much do Olumide or Vivian or Sesan have that he wants to go and actually keep a lot when I'm actually struggling to make ends meet. So is it that I have so much cash in my hand that I want to? Most of my money are actually, if I have to, is in the bank, and I do my transfer to make it happen. So it's not a call that I feel that National Assembly should be talking about. We should be speaking more on some of the legislation that will impact on the city. What are we speaking to the issue of our refineries? What are the National Assembly saying about this? We have 4 refineries, whether it's moribund, whether it's something we can have with the private public partner. What are we speaking to it? We don't need the aspect of this Naira redenomination or new Naira or old Naira. Leave them as they fizzle out, they know what to do. If they want to print the old one, maybe that's what they feel that it's okay by us. But I feel that we should speak of more important things in the aspect of what we impact on average Nigeria. In the area of petroleum product and power is key and is killing businesses. These are areas where they should legislate upon and see how they can actually see an headway to say we are giving a mandate to the Minister of Petroleum or to whosoever is manning that particular place to have within the next 1 year at least one of our refinery coming on board. We've had announcement of several times, Port Harcourt refinery coming upstream. Till now, we are not hearing anything, and we are talking about Naira reprinting and not. Please, let's stay focused and just do what can impact an average citizen in the country.
Lastly, in less than a minute, on the Guardian newspaper, there's a call for military intervention. What's your thought on this? I mean, do you even see that happening? Do you think it's even wise for us to go back to military dictatorship? I mean, we are still enjoying the benefits of democracy, whether we like it or not. Arguably, we are enjoying it. What do you think about it? But please hold that thought. I beg your pardon. Hold that thought. Let's quickly take Michael in less than 30 seconds. Please, let's have your comment.
Hello.
Good morning. Michael, welcome back.
Yeah, I want to contribute to this old Naira and new Naira note of 18.
Go ahead in 30 seconds.
Where is this old Naira note coming from? Because we're given a deadline. Then others, Emefiele and Buhari, now everybody should bring their old Naira note that it will stop to be a legal tender at so time to so time, which most people did. And since the coming of Tinubu government and the new Naira note was received by old Naira note was received as a legal tender, it has not stopped to come. When has it been, this old Naira note? Does it mean that CBN received it, store it, and push it back? And now they don't know a way to retrieve the old Naira note, and let us leave it. Because we don't want to suffer the thing we went through, is it a year ago or 2 years ago, for this Naira note and all that. Because you know the hell that people went through. That will even, people suffer to the extent to even buy things. You have money you can't buy.
Okay.
You to even enter maybe buy is a challenge.
Yes.
You know the stress that people went through. That you don't even try to make Nigeria suffer this again on top this way and other issue that is already on ground.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Sesan Okunade, please go ahead.
Yeah, just to round up, I don't know where this call is coming from. If there is anything we have enjoyed under democracy is the freedom of association, freedom of speech that is allowing us this day to call out Mr. President, to call out the executive, to call out the legislative, to do what is needful. Under military regime, you can enjoy what they will give to you, but you can't question them. And that is one thing that nobody will actually want to look into. But I want to call on on Mr. President to try as much as possible to do what is needful for an average citizen. I must say that things are not smiling. But Mr. President alluded to this, and we must start looking at ways. It's not about cash transfer that we want to look about, but do things that are critical, strategic to business development, so that rather than retrenching, people can recruit more. And let's have stability of our currency in such a way that every business owner can have projection into what they will do in the next 2 months, 3 months. You see, with the increase in fuel that is becoming unpredictable, are you aware that people are already predicting that by December, the cost of fuel will go to about 1,003? Because ordinarily, in December, there are more demands than supply, which we always have that crisis. So if at this time we are still struggling, what will become of us in December? So if you have a projection for the future, how do you manage it? So government should work on this by having stability in our foreign exchange for the business owner. We have stability on the energy cost, whether it's power or it's petroleum product, so that businesses can project into the future and see how they can actually grow in the area at which they are doing. Otherwise, we'll keep struggling and we will not have an end to this hardship that we are all faced with currently.
Thank you very much, Sesan Okunade. That's a safe place to land. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
And I will always tell you that as we are closing this weekend, never discuss the issue of Nigeria. Enjoy your weekend with your family and make sure that you maximize the happiness till you resume back on Monday when we start discussing the issue.
Thank you very much, Sesan Okunade.